Awesome. Well, welcome everybody. Today's webinar, we're going to be talking about just improving lead quality and TCPA compliance. So I'm very privileged to have Ruben here joining us today. Ruben, thank you for jumping on.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me here, Sean.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as always, the goal of our webinar series is for you to walk away with just at least one nugget to help your business, kind of reach the next level. So, Ruben's with Active Prospect. I'm going to let Ruben really describe what Active Prospect does within the home services space here and how it can help your business grow. So, but the main topic we're going to talk about TCPA and what is it, why does it matter? We'll talk about lead management, distribution. We're also going to talk about just reporting back. As you generate and receive leads from lead generators, how do you get that? How do we improve better lead quality by talking, deeper with our partners? So, yeah, my name is Sean Connors. I'm with Contractor Appointments, and we do lead generation within the home services space, mainly on a revenue share basis for our contractors that we work with. So, but Ruben, tell us about Active Prospect. High
Yeah.
level here.
Yeah. Appreciate you having me on. Hello, everybody. My name is Ruben Ugarte. I'm the National Sales Director of Home Services for Active Prospect. Active Prospect is an Austin-based SaaS platform. We focus on CBM, which is consent-based marketing. Consent-based marketing is the practice of only contacting consumers who have opted in and want to be called by you for your specific product or vertical. And we really focus on customer acquisition to help make you safe, uh, give you the ability to scale, and make everything affordable. And I've been with the company for 3 years now. Prior to that, I worked for a large national residential solar installer, helped run their call center along with their lead purchasing division. And prior to that, I sold residential and small commercial solar for Real Good Solar. Uh, and prior to that, I helped run my family's roofing business here in Los Angeles, A&R Roofing. So I've have history in construction and construction roots, and just really excited to be in this position to help so many different home service brands, and here to discuss and talk about TCPA and customer acquisition with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for joining me here. And
Yeah.
so let's without further ado, let's jump right in. So let's talk TCPA. So obviously, there's a wide breadth of companies that are on the platform, from knowing what it is and having best practices there. But let's just talk about what is TCPA and why does it matter?
Yeah, TCPA stands for Telephone Communication Privacy Act. It is a federal law that mandates the communication of marketers and how they outbound consumers. And the reason why it's important is because for every TCPA violation, you can be sued, or a consumer can sue a brand for up to $1,500 per call. So if you call someone who's on the DNC, if you call somebody who, you call somebody on their cell phone and they didn't opt in, basically anybody who you call who's on the DNC or on their cell phone who didn't give you express written consent, you can face litigation. And throughout a lot of different verticals out there, specifically solar, TCPA litigation has been a major issue. There's been a lot of class action lawsuits that have resulted in hundreds of thousands, if not tens of millions of dollars to numerous brands. Security industry is well known for those issues as well. And Active Prospect, we have a product. It's a script-based solution called Trusted Form. And what Trusted Form is a JavaScript that all the major lead providers, including direct brands, have installed on their websites or on their landing pages. And when a consumer goes to fill out a web form for roofing, solar, bath, window, whatever it may be, and they're filling out their first name, their last name, there's a little box that usually says something to the effect of, by checking here, you give us the ability to call you with an automated dialer via email, SMS, and you consent. And so you click that button and you press submit. And usually that's kind of the process there. In the background, our script, Trusted Form, is capturing all those movements of the consumer. It's really the who, what, when, and where of what transpired on the opt-in. And essentially, trusted form, when the consumer opts in, it creates a certificate which passes along somewhat like like a crypto or an NFT, and essentially it allows the marketer or the brand to document and capture the consent of the consumer. And the trusted form gives you a video playback. It gives you the ability to get specific metadata such as the IP address, the geo. It also gives very specific video replay of what the consumer saw at the time of opt-in. So what they saw, along with the metadata, makes for proof of consent.
Yeah, and well, I think you alluded to it. I think in the solar space specifically, there's been some huge
Yeah,
lawsuits. There's a lot of
absolutely.
under the radar stuff when you're buying leads at scale. Um, having a litigator, like there is no litigators in the space that literally go in and fill out lead generators forms, and try to make you settle for any
Yeah,
sorts of dollar amounts, right? So
yeah, yeah.
anyone who's purchasing a lot of leads has probably run into this issue. But one thing I love about trusted forms, so you guys are filling that need in the industry, is just like giving again. Not only are they checking a box and maybe it's timestamped, but you've got an additional certificate alongside it.
Yeah, I think, understanding that there are litigators out there. Litigators are looking to sue companies, and the reason they sue is so that they can get a payout, right? In my call center days, our CEO would give me a letter, and it would be a legal letter, and it would be something to the effect of, "Hey, you called me a bunch of times. I'm on the DNC, and I'm going to sue you for $40,000. But if you send me a $5,000 check tomorrow, we're good." And so, and that's what litigators do. They have all these hooks or all these letters out there, and they're looking for companies who want to quickly pay and just want to settle. And so you think, as from a litigator, a lawyer standpoint, or a consumer standpoint, um, if you put 100 letters out a month and you settle on 5 or 10 of them, wow, that's a pretty good income there. And so that's kind of what they do. And then on the kind of more enterprise side, you have class action lawsuits, right, that are done by big firms that go after some of the publicly traded companies, and these can result in millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars. And so it's something to be concerned about. And also, as you market, right, as you go from a brand who's maybe buying 500,000 leads a month to a company who is 10 $50 million company, and is buying 5,000 20,000 leads a month, your exposure grows because you are buying far more leads and you're contacting far more people, and so you're putting yourselves in harm's way. So I think the message that we have at Active Prospect is, hey, let us help you scale affordably and ultimately safely.
Yeah, well, I think the nice thing about home services, as you've entered and you guys have got in here, is that more and more lead generators within the space have started to adopt trusted forms. And so, just for example, we require all of our direct partners and all of our websites have trusted forms on them for this reason, because and many of our clients, we have mutual clients that are purchasing that are require trusted forms as part of
Yeah.
that lead generation process, just for this reason. As soon as you start buying leads at scale, you need to protect yourself. That doesn't mean that you're still not going to have that litigator try to send stuff and it might still come through. But it's again minimizing your risk at all points, because the more you put yourself out there, it
Yeah,
just
absolutely. And I think it's also kind of a segue into kind of our lead management and kind of other topics here.
yeah.
But ultimately, right, when you think about lead generation or you think about lead purchasing, the old school method, and there's so many owners or so many marketers or lead buyers that I talk to who are like, yeah, I buy leads and I just trust that they're sending me leads for roofing. I'm trusting that they send me leads for solar. And that just boggles my mind, because here you're responsible for the media purchasing of your company. And you're responsible for feeding your call center, which is ultimately responsible for feeding the sales team, which is responsible for feeding the operations team. and everyone's responsible for feeding everybody at that company. And here you are at the very top of the funnel, and you're just trusting everybody who you do
Yep.
business with. Why not have a certification system that validates everything that you purchase,
Yep.
and you put yourself in a position to understand where these lead providers are generating leads, and are they doing them authentically? Are they real time? Things
Yep.
like that, I think, matter, and ultimately have shown
Oh,
that it boosts performance.
yeah, absolutely. Well, that's just it's the proof that it actually happened. It's that there's actually a legitimate online lead that was generated, at that time, instead of a lead generator. You hear it from all these contractors that it's like, was that actually a real time lead? And yeah, you actually know that information with
Yeah.
the
If,
trusted form.
if you're on this call and you're a marketer and you're purchasing leads, and you are getting leads where people are saying consecutively, I never filled anything out, or I
Yeah.
was told I was going to get a free iPhone or free iPad, you need
Yep.
trust.
Yeah, which is just about everybody. So, yeah, that's what that I love that. So let's talk about besides the TCPA and trusted forms, kind of segueing into that. Like, how does Active Prospect help companies when buying online leads at scale? So one is the compliance side of things, but
Yep.
I tell us some more about the
Yeah.
other pieces of it.
So we have an entire platform which Trusted Form is part of. Active Prospect platform consists of lead conduit, suppression list, Trusted Form, and a number of integrations that we have that we host in our marketplace. But ultimately, the way I like to describe what we do is like air traffic control for lead or customer acquisition. We're a bi-directional data highway where we can take leads from any source. We can um, filter them, we can capture them, we can filter them. You can use third-party APIs to enhance the data. You can make decisions and set up automated logic based off that information. And then ultimately, you can decide if you want to purchase that lead in real time before accepting it into your CRM. And then ultimately, if you are going to invest in that lead and you are going to purchase it and it meets all of your digital underwriting requirements, you can then pass that lead into your CRM, or pass it to your dealers, or distribute it to whatever endpoint, LMS, CRM, dialer that you so choose. So in simple terms, we're a protective layer that sits in front of your CRM, and we're ultimately a digital highway that helps you capture all your data, create custom automation, and really determine whether or not you want to purchase a lead by creating custom filters inside of our platform.
Yeah, well, just to feed off of that, we have many clients who use Active Prospect, and
Yeah,
we're generating 1,000 or more leads a month for these companies who are typically using you, and they can in real time let us know and say, hey, we've already got that customer in our database. Hey, we've already got an open opportunity with that customer, and we
yeah,
work on a revenue share basis with that company. So like, we're not going to pass them that customer they're already working, and
yeah,
that gives us real time feedback of it's a duplicate already in their system, or it's a known lead that they were going to reject it because we found it already doesn't fit our business model for various reasons. So and then let's just you talked about it here of just amending data. Last week we talked with our partners over at Think Unlimited that we're
okay,
also mutual partners with, and they're
yeah,
again
yeah,
it's like, how do you take a lead that's filled out name, address, email, phone number, maybe the trade that they're interested in. And then like there's so many third party data points to amend to that can help make decisions. For one of the common questions we get is that person on title? Or is that what's the credit score of that
right,
customer?
right,
To determine not only if you're going to buy it, but how you should route it on the back end for your
yeah,
marketing team and the
exactly.
value of that lead.
Yeah, how long you should be calling that, right? I think
Yep.
gone are the days where you treat every lead the same. And I've had discussions with a lot of marketers and call centers where they treat a $10 lead the same as they do 100, and they call every lead the same amount of times. And so I think what we do is we bring a level of sophistication that says, listen, not every lead is created equal, and you have the ability to understand the demographics behind every lead before you purchase it. and you can make a decision in real time whether or not you want to. And I think from the lead vendor perspective, when you have a buyer who is using our technology and can give you real time feedback on duplicates and rejections, well, that gives you the ability in real time to route that lead to another buyer who doesn't have that same lead, or it's not in the zips. And so it gives both sides the opportunity to monetize that consumer and provide a more eloquent customer journey. And then
Mhm.
ultimately, for both sides, it gives you the ability for the buyer to maximize the budget and the best quality leads. So accepting the best quality leads into their CRM, and then for the seller, maximizing their media spend, right? So that they're not getting returns, the old returns from their lead buyer a week or 2 weeks later. And at that point, like right, you can't monetize a lead. It's now an age lead, and you
Yep.
can't do anything with it. So both sides kind of lose out there. So our technology
Hmm.
provides both that benefit for the buyer, benefit for the seller, and then to some of the points that you mentioned, um, third-party APIs. Right? It's 2022. Right? The internet's been around for a long time. There's all these data sources out there. We have an API with CoreLogic where you can append title, vesting of title. We have an Experian integration where you can grab the credit score based off the zip plus 4, which is a building or an area. Now, not all of these will be used to reject or to filter out,
Yep.
but a lot of them are used by our clients to understand, hey, what kind of cadence should I have on this lead vendor or this campaign? And should
Yep.
I call this 20 times or should I call it 5 times? That difference in call cadence is money and dials, which are being taken away from somewhere else. So there's quite a few buckets of value there.
Yeah, well, I think that's. I mean, our heart within lead generation is we are looking at which has been a pivot for us. Just to be honest, is like when it comes to it as the lead generator, we have to look at the customer first. This homeowner, like we serve them 100 times, 1,000 times to our one contractor we work with here too. So if we can using technology, the more that a contractor sets those bars of what lead is quality to them and that they actually can truly work and actually serve allows us to, just like you said, route it to a better contractor who can serve that audience and
Yeah.
that homeowner better. So I think the goal with all of this at the end of the day actually serves the homeowner, our customers, much better because you're spending quality time with the quality prospects on your side, and your call center is only calling a better quality lead here, but it also routes
Absolutely.
that other lead over to a company who can actually serve them better.
Absolutely. And I think outside of kind of like what we're talking about, right? Lead acquisition, customer acquisition, kind of front end.
Yep.
At the end of the day, we're here to help brands grow. We're here to help people install more deals profitably. And companies who are more profitable have better processes and pay their employees better. And those employees are happier, which leads to more satisfaction, which hopefully should lead to more business. So
Yep.
that's what we've seen with a lot of our enterprise brands who are doing really, really well. We had a very large client, two of our very large clients announce this past week that they were merging, SunPro Solar and ADT, and we're really excited to have both of those clients be on our platform for years. Um, and we see there's a lot of movement in the home service space, right? There's a lot of private equity, there's a lot of venture capital coming into the space, and uh, there needs to be a sophistication at the front end, and it can no longer be I'm just going to buy a bunch of leads, I'm going to make a bunch of calls, and at the end of the month, I'm going to divide my media spend, divided my sales.
Yeah.
And I'm either going to bitch about it or I'm going to, be really happy. Those days are
Yep.
gone. And I think, there's marketers and owners that are really looking for sophistication. And, the tech stack is ever more important than it's ever been.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Well, it's always the lead quantity and lead quality, and it's you got to be able to do that. And I think marketing cost at the end of the day, how most more home services companies are going to judge marketing cost is on like the overall marketing costs over net sales, which is great, but it leaves a whole layer in between of like how do you there's so many lead inputs that can actually and levers that you can pull to optimize that whole process so that you get more leads that are actually in your target market. and
Yeah.
more lead. You're actually purchasing more leads from more lead sources, and being able to weed out the leads that you don't really need to work. So there's optimization there, so that your call center isn't,
Yes.
you don't need to dial 10,000 leads
Correct.
when you can whittle it down to
Correct.
5,000 target customers that are actually going to
Correct.
have a higher set rate and through
Yeah,
demo.
to put it simply, I try to simplify things by saying there's three buckets, major buckets of value, and there's quite a few, but there's three major buckets of value. The first one
Yep.
is media savings, improving quality on the media that you're taking in, rejecting leads that you don't need or that you would find out down the road that you wouldn't, whether it's out of zip, duplicates, bad phone numbers, whatever it may be. The second one, which could be as important, is time compression of your lead buyer, of your call center director, all the people who you're hiring to convert all this money into appointments and sales or appointments. The compression of their time is so valuable. And if they're spending a monotonous amount of time running reports, trying to figure out this, trying to figure out that, getting leads from here to there, well, then, you know, we're as a brand, you're wasting time and you're not using it, should lead to better results out. Better data in, better quality leads in, lower cost should lead to a lower cost of acquisition and give you the ability to have less dials per appointment and more
Yep.
appointment sets per lead.
Well, and that's what we've kind of seen the industry starting to trend this way, is that SMS has now become a really big portion of, we've got a webinar coming here with SMS, but it's not a we do that to differentiate ourselves. It's everybody's doing that.
You got to do it.
You're now like it's a crowded marketplace to get in front of these leads. And so the more you know about that lead on the front end, the more that so there's all these different the marketing cost it is to convert a lead into an actual set demo.
SMS is
It's
huge.
it's
SMS
huge.
is
So
huge. And once
yep,
again, going back to trusted form is like the golden ticket. You have the ability with the trusted form lead to be able to call people. You can SMS them, you can email them, and you can do that, continuously. And if you're a lead provider on this call, or if you're a buyer, and if you're a lead provider and your buyers aren't doing SMS, well, then you're not going to convert as many. They're not going to convert as many leads that you're
yep,
selling them. And if you're a buyer and you're not using SMS, um, you need to get on the train, because SMS is here. There's a number of providers.
yep.
Shout out to Hatch, which is a big partner of ours. We have an
Mhm.
integration. Drips, which a lot of enterprise brands use as well. Think
Yep.
Unlimited. I know that they have a technology layer that does that as well. And that goes along with lead scoring, and that we can kind of go down the rabbit hole of all the different types of integrations. But there's so much sophistication that's out there that if you empower your marketers and you empower your team, you can really do far more with less.
Yeah. Well, and that's just it. Is I think the gone are the days of just hiring additional call center employees to do
Yeah.
that. It's like the dialers and the technology out there today, which will have more partners on just talking about the technology that it should be less, and be able to handle more volume. And this is kind of part of it. And
Yeah.
let's transition into kind of some of this, like when it comes to improving lead quality overall, I think a big missing piece with lead generation and the competing factor of, like, I'm going to generate a significant amount of leads, and then the buyer is going to receive all those leads, the contractor is going to receive those leads, and then it's whether it was returns before, whatever that is, that feedback loop has kind of been broken. So lead generators incentive
Yeah.
thus far has been drive lead volume, and contractors incentive is to say, I need to generate, or buyer is going to go, I need to get as many leads for my marketing budget, or my marketing percentage that I have budgeted.
Yep.
So but there's no full funnel. If you think about that, from a
Yeah.
lead capture to a net sale at the end of
Yeah.
the day, there's a huge gap in the middle. As we've switched to revenue share with our contractors, we can now get that full information back and say,
You
well,
got it.
these leads resulted in a net sale. So that's going to change the marketing levers over here of this advertisement. Maybe it generates more leads, but actually results in fewer net sales.
Yes.
So it's not about quantity anymore. It's about the quality and about knowing, being able to tie the two strings together of actually entry point of the lead all the way down to the net sale. So we've talked about that a little bit and kind
Yeah.
of the direction you guys are headed in this direction too.
Yeah, I've seen that as a big part, right? So 5 years ago, um, and before, it was very rare to have companies have rev share deals with lead providers. Everything was always done on a CPL basis. And for those who are on the call who are still doing everything on a CPL basis, that's fine. But more and more, there's opportunity where companies like yourself who say, hey, we want a true partnership. We don't want to take money up front on a cost per lead. We want to be ingrained in your business. And because of that, we want to send you data and we want to know what happens with that data. So we need to understand for every lead we send you, what action did you take? How many times did you call it? And we want to help you understand what we're doing collectively
Yeah.
good and do more of that, and what are we doing collectively bad and do less of that. And so our technology gives the ability to deliver the data into the CRM, but we can also grab disposition data currently from someone's CRM, whether it's Lead Perfection, Salesforce, and we can funnel it back into Lead Conduit, which can then send disposition data back as CSV files to lead vendors or your partners. And ultimately, over the next quarter, we're developing a full-fledged disposition feedback feature, which will give the ability to send probably 15 or 20 different fields because everybody kind of has different dispositions, right? Like your call
Yep.
disposition, sale disposition, your demo disposition. So all these different dispositions. But ultimately, the goal is to grab that information, send it back into Lead Conduit, be able to have reports and give access to all of your partners so that they can understand what's going right, what's going wrong, and ultimately you can collaborate. And I
Yep.
really feel, and I've always felt, even as a lead buyer, like if I'm buying leads from you, you're a partner and I need to treat you as such. And if I have this wall of secrecy of like, hey, I don't want you to know how many sales I'm getting because you're going to charge me more, or you know what, different people think different things.
Yep.
Then you're never really understanding. You're never having that transparency, and that lack of transparency from disposition and result to the birth of the lead origination opt in. That's going to create friction, and
Yep.
that's going to lead to less sales and more money spent.
Well, that's the friction within the industry between lead generator and the actual end buyer is that, that's for us that is, it takes that friction completely out, and it takes a unique contractor that we found
Right.
the companies that are successful and are able to scale, are using tools like Trusted Form and Active Prospect to try to,
Right.
you know, they've already adopted that level of technology and sophistication,
Right.
so that that the lead information is wide open. It's got to be transparent in that
Yeah.
process, but that's going to help everyone be more successful, because it's not about just the lead quantity. We can generate significant amount of leads. It's about making sure it's the right lead. Is it the right advertisement that's actually going to lead into net sales? Because it's not about the numbers. Just like we talked about at the beginning of the call back to TCPA, like more quantity of leads just opens you up for more litigation or more, more risk and more time and energy and effort to be able to process leads. It's about the
Yeah.
quality of lead to the net sale.
Yeah. And,
So we can
and
improve
once
that
again, the
customer journey.
technology's there, and the technology's
Yep.
there. I mean, the advancement in technology, call center marketing technology. I mean, it's gone leaps and bounds from when I worked at a call center, 10 years ago, or running a call center 5 years ago, to where we are at today. I mean, now you can grab a lead, you can do all the verification with our tech, you can send it into a company like Hatch, you can send it to Think Unlimited. You can send it to design companies like Hover and Aurora. I mean,
Mhm.
there's such great technologies that are out there, but it all takes the ability to send that information back and forth and communicate in real time to really make a complete, data highway, which is a term I love to use because it just makes sense, right? A data highway, right? Creating that data highway, there's value there, and I think more and more home service companies are getting on the same path where education vertical, Obviously, mortgage industry has been doing it for 25 years now. And so I'm really proud to be servicing home service brands and supporting so many different folks out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, Ruben, I appreciate your time here. And how can people reach you beyond here?
Yeah, you can contact me at Ruben at activeprospect.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn under Solar Junkie. But ultimately, feel free to reach out to me, Ruben at activeprospect.com. You can go to the activeprospect.com website. And, I enjoyed this webinar. It was awesome. I appreciate
Yeah.
you and the team.
Well, I appreciate it. It's been a pleasure. We'll talk to you soon here. Thanks.
All right. See you later. See you later, everybody. Thanks.
Yeah.